Good afternoon. My name is Jordan Brown, and I'm filling in today for our Rural Health Initiative Coordinator, Amy Wyckoff. The mission of the RHI is to engage partners to share ideas and expertise to support communities in improving health while stimulating a higher level of wellness across the state. Thank you all for joining us today for the webinar, Montana's Smarter Lunchroom, Helping Students Eat Better, Choose Healthier, and Waste Less, presented by Katie Bark, the Project Director of Montana Team Nutrition. Katie will discuss how Smarter Lunchroom design leads to healthier choices. A link to the slides and recording of today's webinar will be sent to all registered participants following today's presentation. Just a few technical details before the presentation begins. All the lines have been set to mute. You may press *6 to unmute your line. There will be a question and answer session at the end of the presentation, but feel free to type the question into the sidebar to the right of your screen at any time. At the conclusion of today's webinar, you will have an opportunity to provide valuable feedback through a brief survey. Please take a few seconds to fill it out and share your thoughts. And I would now like to introduce Katie Bark, who will start the presentation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here, and thank you, Jordan, for helping set this up. Montana Team Nutrition is the nutrition training arm for the Office of Public Instruction School Nutrition Programs. We're located at Montana State University in Bozeman, and we focus on providing professional development and technical assistance on school wellness policy implementation, child nutrition programs, and farm to school. We want to again thank the Rural Health Initiative for allowing us to partner with them in providing this Montana Smarter Lunchrooms webinar series. This is the first of 5 webinars we'll be doing throughout the school year. Now, how do I get them to advance? Okay, that's not advancing. There we go. Okay. Team Nutrition is really honored to work with school districts around Montana and to provide technical assistance and professional development opportunities to help schools, and especially school nutrition program professionals, to meet their school lunch mission of providing nutritional meals, equal access to all students at a low cost while maintaining participation. And one of their main goals is to really encourage students to make healthy choices. And that's why we're talking about smarter lunchrooms and the behavioral and economics concepts today. In our 30 minutes together, we're going to achieve these 3 objectives. You will understand the definition of behavioral economics and Smarter Lunchrooms movement, and understand how behavioral economics influences food choices to really help students select and eat healthier foods, while sort of learning some of the successful Smarter Lunchroom strategies from actually Montana schools, and specifically 5 Montana high schools we worked with last school year. You should also see on your webinar slides that there are 3 handouts. There's a presentation handout that are these slides, but also 2 handouts that you'll find more information on what we're talking about. So I want to again just thank Rural Health Initiative for co-sponsoring this webinar series, and really just give a shout out to all the school nutrition professionals across Montana who work hard every day to really serve our students healthful, tasty meals that support not only their growth and development, but fuel academic and athletic success. These are some of the examples of Smarter Lunchroom techniques that Montana schools have been doing throughout the years. We'll learn about more of them, and we'll actually go over some of them in the relation to behavioral economics. So first of all, we're going to ask you a couple questions. If you don't mind filling them out quickly, I'll turn it over to, you're going to see a poll question in just a minute, and if you don't mind responding. Thank you. Okay, great. Well, it looks like about over half of you are from a school, and about 44% are not. So that's just good information to know. The next question is more directed to people if you're the 44% that aren't with a school, if you don't mind answering this question. I guess the people that are in a school, if you would put not applicable, then we'll get 100% everybody participating in this poll. Okay, great. Well, it looks like many of you that are working in schools, but the participants that aren't may be interested in working with a school, so we appreciate knowing that information. Okay, so what is behavioral economics? It basically is the study of how our environment impacts our food choices. And this happens everywhere, but today we're going to be focusing on how to use behavioral economics in a school setting. And it is based on these 6 principles: managing portion size, increasing convenience, improving visibility, enhancing visibility, improving visibility, enhancing taste expectations, utilizing suggestive selling, and setting smart pricing strategies. We're going to go over a few of these today, but you'll be learning more and more about these in the upcoming webinars. That's why I want to refer you to the handouts, because they do go over these in more detail. And I encourage you to try them even at home. So this is based on, if you've heard of Dr. Brian Wansik from Cornell University, the Benn Center, and he and his colleagues, Dr. David Just and others, came up with the term mindless eating, which basically has a double meaning. It means we eat more than we think, often due to mistaken portion size, but we also eat mostly without thinking about it, and that's where the mindless eating comes in. So we'll be talking about this, but I want to make sure we acknowledge this is all based on the work of the Benn Center, which is the Cornell Center for Behavioral Economics and Child Nutrition Programs, and you see the website is right there. Okay, whoops, I didn't mean to hit the website. Shoot, there it is, in case you want to know about it. But let's see here. Here we go, sorry. Okay, so what we're going to do to sort of learn about the whole behavioral economics is we're going to take just a short little activity, fun activity. And what we're going to have you do is look at a slide in just a few minutes of a pantry and see how many of the labels and brands you can actually remember. So this is just to give an idea of what behavioral economics is. So for the next 15 seconds, if you don't mind just looking at this and writing down the brand names that you see of the labels. Or just really looking at it right now for the 15 seconds. And then we'll write it down in the next activity. But just look at this for 15 seconds and think about what labels you're seeing. Okay, so if we stop now, you've had some time to look at this. Now what I'd like you to do for the next 45 seconds is actually write down what brands you remember. Okay, so hopefully you've written down quite a few, and we're not going to be able to talk about which ones you did as a group, but I want you to think about your answers. What items did you remember? You might expect that all the items to be equally noticeable or memorable, but this isn't usually the case. Typically, in most people, certain items appear on many viewers' lists while others appear on a few or no lists. So let's talk about why that is. First, let's look back at the picture, and this is where you might be thinking, where do more of the remembered items and brands appear? Why do you think you remembered these items more than others? And this usually the case is that most of the items that most of the people probably remembered are the ones that are usually front and center. So they would be in the center aisles at eye level and in the middle of the shelves. Usually items on the periphery or in the bottom are more likely to be overlooked and forgotten. So if your list consists of some of the items like Campbell's soup, the Dole pineapple, the Jiffy peanut butter, maybe the Folgers coffee, you might see that those were at the front and center. So that's where the behavioral economics sort of helps people and really influences all of us in our decision making. Items that are easy to see and reach attract our attention first and really become our default setting. For example, if you open a pantry for a snack, you're likely to end up taking something from the front in eye level shelf. The same goes for the refrigerator. And this can be a problem when fruits and vegetables are often stored in hard to see and hard to reach drawers instead of in plain sight. So that's where we're going to be using the power of behavioral economics and really redesigning the school lunchroom and the lunch line to actually help students and what they call nudge students to make healthier choices. So behavioral economics really uses environmental cues like placement to subconsciously nudge students' decisions into making healthier choices. And like I said, they're based on 6 concepts, principles that we'll be going over. But the 2 most important usually in the school nutrition setting, if you're thinking about doing it in a school, is visibility, which is usually making it really easy to see for the students to see the healthy choices, and convenience, making it really easy to reach. So that's where we're just so proud of Montana schools for using these concepts to really be proactive in helping students make healthier choices. And these are the 6 principles again. And we're going to go over examples of 3 of them, the increased convenience, improved visibility, and enhancing taste expectations today. This, I just wanted to show you, we'll be going over this in the November 3rd webinar, which is part 2. So I'd like you to mark your calendars to join us on November 3rd. And this is the scorecard which schools can use to select their strategies that they want to implement in their cafeterias from this checklist. And we'll be going over it in detail next session. I also wanted to just point out that if you're looking at improving or enhancing your school wellness policy implementation plan, you can use Smarter Lunchrooms in that checklist, the scorecard that we'll be going over in November to actually see how you're doing on implementing a strong school wellness policy in your cafeteria. And it's also based the basis for the Healthier U.S. School Challenge Smarter Lunchroom Award, and that's what the topic will be next webinar, part 2. So let's get down and look at some examples of what Montana schools have done with Smarter Lunchroom strategies to increase convenience. And again, the easier it is to see a food, the more likely we all are going to eat it. So what schools have been doing, and these are some examples of Hardin, Columbia Falls, and Troy high schools that we worked with last year, is they put fruits and vegetables at least 2 places on the lunch line, if not 3. You'll see one of them's right by the register. That's a really easy thing to do, to put a nice bowl of fresh fruit in an attractive bowl, more attractive bowl the better, right by the cashier. And it makes it, we find that research shows that kids' fruit selection increases sometimes 2 times or 3 times by doing that. Troy found by adding a homemade like cream of broccoli soup with a homemade whole wheat roll with their salad bar. They have 2 salad bars. They put soup on one and all the other salad selections on the other. They found that more students went to the salad bar and enjoyed that as a meal at lunchtime. The other thing is putting the grab-and-go salads or sandwiches front and center on the a la carte line, and then the students actually select a reimbursable sort of a combo meal instead of just one item at the a la carte line. Hardin High School has a very attractive, enticing salad bar, and they found that by just putting it first instead of at the end of the line really increased student selection at the salad bar. Ways to increase invisibility are, again, just by making it very visible. The left picture is showing the salad bar. What Troy did is they actually just moved their salad bar so students could go on both sides of it, and that obviously increased participation. Columbia Falls actually started really displaying the fruits and vegetables very attractively on the line to entice the students to make more selections at the fruit and vegetable bar, and they also moved it at the beginning of their line instead of having it at the end. And then Billings Skyview put their milk in a fun sort of container, and they sort of hid the chocolate milk, so the white milk was what students saw, and that helped increase milk selection of white milk. Hardin High School also made an orange mountain of oranges, and they found that that really increased the visibility of the fruit being served that day, and every student actually took an orange that day. So again, just trying to have fun, simple ways to merchandise the healthy foods helps students select it. Enhancing taste expectations is another principle, and this is where in Livingston at Park High School, they're really working at trying to serve a Montana-made meal every month, and they really advertise it. And this is an example of homemade lasagna with local beef and actually homemade noodles, and then also local beets from their garden. And so they really use it as and have big signage showing that it's a Montana meal. Billings Skyview is actually serving smoothies now, and sometimes it's with the fruit that hasn't been the most popular, and then they're coming up with really fun names like the Berry Palooza for Mondays, or every day is served. Just peachy smoothie on Friday. And those names, a lot of times if the students expect it's going to taste good and it's going to be fun, they're more apt to select it. Another idea of trying to enhance taste expectations, again, is through signage. The Park High School students came up with a life-size poster of their basketball coach pushing out an apple saying, "Taste almost as good as victory." Again, association of taste with athletic success. So just some fun ways to really promote the healthy foods and entice students to make selections. This is a picture of Billings Skyview showing how attractive and enticing the lunchroom can be, and making it look nice for the students to be there. What we found is that when working with the 5 Montana high schools last year, and they were Troy Middle High School is one school, Columbia Falls High School, Park High School, which is in Livingston, Skyview High School in Billings, and then Hardin High School. They really did focus on how to increase the visibility and convenience, and to redesign, sort of make over their lunchroom to through the Smarter Lunchroom strategies, and really try to enhance marketing efforts through a team approach. What we really suggest is if you want to do this in your school, it's a great opportunity to form a little Smarter Lunchroom team, which is made up of school nutrition staff, at least the manager or the person from the food service that the manager appoints to the committee, and then a teacher or a school administrator, and then a couple students. And also it could be a community partner like MSU Extension Service agent or a SNAP Ed educator to really work on what are the things that they'd like to do that are feasible. And luckily through our little pilot of 5 schools last year, we found very good positive outcomes. It was really a win-win for students and for the school, because we found that student selection at the salad bar increased and decreased waste of fruits and vegetables, so in milk actually. So even with the students were selecting more fruits and vegetables and they were eating them. Participation levels on the whole too, on the average, also increased, which we're really excited about, because as food service nutrition professionals know, it's sometimes in spring the participation levels go down when the weather gets nice. But so we were happy, and that's where I guess we are really looking forward to assisting more schools with sort of creating a Smarter Lunchroom, and we hope that through this webinar and through your interest and in your own schools or working with a school in your community, you can help implement some of these effective, easy, low-cost strategies with success. So what I'd like you to do, if you're interested in more information, a couple action steps you can take is we really encourage you to take the for a really complete overview of what the Smarter Lunchrooms concept is, to take the Ben Center's free course. You can get 2 hours of continuing education for it. It's found at this link. If you go to the Smarter Lunchroom website, which is again www.smarterlunchrooms.org, and you just go to training, it's the first thing that comes up, but this is actually the link that you can go to. And you will, I just took it recently again, and it's really interactive, and you'll find it's fun because they make it really interactive, and it really gives you a good basis if you want to learn more about Smarter Lunchrooms. And then we encourage you to join us on November 3rd at 4 to 4:30 for our second part 2 of this webinar series, which will be focusing on the self-assessment card and really how a school can achieve a Healthy School Award through Smarter Lunchrooms. Encourage you to contact us if you'd like more information, or contact a school in your area. And if you're a school nutrition professional and you want some help from local partners, do contact us, because maybe we'll be able to help also with some connections. So I'd like to take a few minutes for questions. We have about 5 minutes for questions or comments, and so I understand that if you press *6, you will unmute your line, and I'd be happy to take a question or any comments from the audience. Hello? Did somebody want to say something? I thought I heard something. Maybe not. Okay. Well, if there's no questions or comments, what we can do is do the third poll question, and we can even get done on time or a little before. If you don't mind just answering this question. Okay, awesome. Great. Thank you for answering that poll. Okay, I just want to make sure everybody has my contact information, which is on this slide. And then I do want to thank you so much for your participation. And please do contact me if we can further assist you. You will be receiving a follow-up email from Rural Health Initiative, and you will also be getting the certificate of participation for this half-hour webinar. So that will be coming. Are there any questions or anything before we close? Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Jordan.
Hi, I have a question.
Oh, sure.
Did schools have to purchase any new equipment, or was it expensive for them to make the changes that they did?
No, these strategies are very low cost or no cost strategies. So a lot of times, like if they have the salad bar already and they're just putting it in a different position in the cafeteria, that wouldn't cost anything. The only things that would cost, which were a cost to the schools, were like a fruit bowl. If they did want to put an attractive fruit bowl, some of them bought glass, a ceramic attractive fruit bowl. Some other people bought more like a black plastic one. So those, some small equipment as far as fruit bowls, or Troy School did ended up just using a crock pot, pressure cooker that they had. But if somebody wanted to do more soup on their salad bar, they may have to purchase that. The signage actually was done through the high school in a combination with either the high school family and consumer science teachers or business. So the signage didn't cost, the school actually paid for that. So typically the cost might be $50 or less per strategy, but usually, it's not high cost strategies.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, great. I'll turn it over to Jordan. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Katie, for sharing your time and expertise. A link to the recording of today's webinar and the slides will be sent out via email to all participants who are registered, and the webinar will also be posted along with the handouts and the presentation on the RHI website. I will send that link out within the email. So thank you to our presenter and participants for attending. Please remember to complete the survey that will show up on your screen after closing the webinar. It will be emailed as well. And we hope to see all of you again November 3rd. Thank you. Bye.